Hi, everyone. It's me, Christopher Lawrence. Are you excited? I am. I wanted to do this quick presentation to give you a taste test. As many of you know, I have this workshop coming up called Learn to Love Any Job or Know When to Quit. So this is meant to help people get motivated, maybe just to find that job. Maybe you're unemployed right now and you know that you're going to have to take something you don't want to take. Maybe you're in a situation where you just know that you can't leave because you're trapped by the golden handcuffs of a good salary. So my workshop is September 24th. It's from 9 to 5. It's an all-day workshop, and we're offering it for a crazy price. It's $97 for the first few people that register, and then it goes up to about $147 after that. So really good price on it for an all-day workshop. You're not going to find anything else for the value we're offering. And we're going to do some crazy fun things. If you want to register for it, check it out at Job Love, J-O-B-E, no, J-O-B-E, that's Job Love, Job Love, J-O-B-L-O-V-E .eventbrite.com. So that's J-O-B-L-O-V-E .eventbrite.com. And you can register there for the workshop. It's on September 24th. Make sure you register early. But what I wanted to do today is give you a sort of a sample of what we're going to be doing. So I want to give you an opportunity to learn something now before we do. I don't have a lot of time, so it's going to be a little bit brief, but hopefully enough that it's inspiring enough for you that you would like to learn a little bit more and check us out. So I'm going to switch to the desktop view, so you're not going to see my shining happy face anymore. I'm going to start a presentation, and then you'll learn something. How does that sound? Okay, so I'm going to turn off my camera here and share my desktop. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to start the presentation. So this is all about learning to love any job or knowing when it's time to quit. So why is this even important? What's the point of this? Why do we care? Why not just go and get another job, right? And as I kind of already mentioned, it's not always an option, especially in this market. Sometimes people are just stuck by their circumstance, or they choose to be stuck by their circumstance for lots of different reasons. You know, maybe you've got kids and you want to put them through college and you're making a good salary, so you've got to stay. If you live in Calgary, which is where I live, the economy just has completely tanked right now. So it's hard to find work. And so you might have to take a job that is outside of your skill set or something that's below your skill set and isn't very meaningful. Or maybe you're in a situation where you don't particularly enjoy your job, you don't feel passionate about it, but you don't want to start all over again either. Now, I'm a dreamer, so I believe that anything is possible. However, sometimes the path of least resistance, and maybe even the path of most reward, is to stay exactly where you are right now. And if not, how are you going to know? So that's what the workshop is intended to do, and hopefully you'll get a little bit of a tidbit of that today. Sometimes the path of right now is exactly where you need to be. So in those cases, we have to learn to love the job. We have to find a way to love the job that we might absolutely hate doing. And so to understand that, what you have to understand is what makes loving a job easy, right? It's made up of three things. The first thing is it's got to be the right fit, right? You have to know that the job is the right fit. There's lots of things that you can do to do this. You might check out my book. It's Go Beyond Passion, Discover Your Dream Job. I've created a tool that actually teaches you how to learn to love, created a tool that will teach you how to discover what your right job fit is. And it's not based off your personality type and a bunch of job titles. This is based off of who you are authentically at your core. That's the first thing. So the big thing is, what's the job fit, and does it put you in your peak state? Does it put you in a state of mind where you have energy at the end of the day rather than draining you? The second thing is that it has to be in line with your values. If a job is in line with your personal and work values, then it's much easier to love it. And then the third thing is it has to be in line with your 6 human needs. So this comes from Tony Robbins. That's where I got it from. Maybe he got it from somebody else. I don't know. But you want it in line with these 6 human needs, and these human needs are psychological needs, right? So this doesn't necessarily talk about food or shelter. It talks about your psychological needs. So if those are met, then it makes loving a job easy. What happens if you can't get these? Well, you become unfulfilled, right? So in this picture here, you can see following your dreams has been canceled. And that's not a very good feeling to have, but we also know that only about 17% of the people working, and this was based off of a Gallup poll that was done of over 2 million people, only about 17% of people feel like they're fulfilled by their jobs. So we want to make sure that we have some tools for those of us that aren't in a position to go and find our dream job, but take the one we have now and get as close as possible. So how do you learn to love any job? Well, actually, there was a clue on the first slide. It's in here. What is it about these 3 components that makes us love a job? What makes the job the right fit? Where do our values come from? And how come each of us interprets these 6 human needs differently? I might find certainty by sitting at the same desk every day, and some other people might find certainty by being able to drive their own car, right? So we all value these things differently. So it's how we choose to interpret these things. The answer is that it's our blueprint. So each of us has a psychological makeup, and it's our way of being in the world. It's made up of what we believe to be true, right? And so there's this great quote, and I can't remember who it's by, but it's that you don't ever see the world as it actually is. You see the world as you actually are. And isn't that true of your job as well? Don't we see our jobs as we are? Isn't it interesting that our neighbor might absolutely love what they do and we hate it? It's because of our perception and how we perceive those filters. So how do we learn to love any job again? There are lots of things that we can do, but the first thing is that we have to start to change our blueprint. And our blueprint is made up of many things, but it's largely our perception of things. So how do we start to change our perception if we've seen the world the same way for a very long time? One of the simplest ways, and I'm getting close to my time here, so I'm going to have to be brief, but one of the ways that we can do this is through language. It's one of the simplest ways, and this is just a sample platter of what we're going to be doing at the workshop. Our language is an indicator of how we think. How we think is an indicator of what we believe. What we believe is our way of being in the world. Therefore, it's our blueprint. So one of the simplest ways is to become acutely aware of your language and start to change it. When we start to do it, it can start to affect your state. And when you affect your state, it can start to change how you behave. If you do it long enough, it can affect how you start to see the world. So as an example, I went through a period of my life where I kept saying, people would say, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so busy. I'm so tired. And I went through that period for a couple of weeks, and then I realized, I'm like, why am I telling people this? Like, me telling people that I'm tired doesn't really help anybody, does it? And so I started to shift my language. Even though I actually felt physically tired, when people would say, how are you doing? I would say, I'm living my best life. I'm having the most glorious day I've ever had. How are you doing? I'm amazing. How are you? Right? How are you doing? I'm living the dream. You know what was interesting is that physically, I started to wake up. I started to feel less tired. And so if we can do something similar around our jobs, like, what do you think of your job? right? Well, lots of people say, it's not my forever place. It's not quite where I want to be. It's okay. It pays the bills, all of those things. What if we were start to challenge the way that we think through our language, right? And we start to say, actually, this job has some surprising benefits to it, right? And what if we had language that said, my boss should do the following things to make me feel better? And what if we challenge that to say, I should do the following things to make me feel better? Or even, I'd like to do the following things, and I think that will make me feel better. So this is just one of the places that we're going to start. We're also going to look at people's purpose, and we're going to look at motivation. How do we get motivated again? How do we find passion again? That kind of thing. So I'm starting to run out of time here, but see, that's one right there. I bet you I'm going to get 1,000 emails or messages on this post saying, Christopher, do you realize you kept saying I'm short on time? Maybe I should say I have so much time right now. So here's the deal. I have so much time to do this last slide. So here's how you can help your friends, yourself, your family. Help me get the word out there. This is part of a workshop series. It's called the Go Beyond Passion Workshop Series. The first workshop is on September 24th. Learn to love your job or know when to quit. This is for people who want to learn how to experience job satisfaction. So if you're one of those people like I was for a long time, that it didn't matter where you went, you were just never happy, this is a good workshop for you. Maybe you're laid off or you're unemployed and you're struggling to find the right job fit. Maybe you're struggling to decide if you are in the right job, and maybe you want to quit, right? Maybe you're not sure if you should quit your current job or industry, right? So this will help you determine when it's actually time to quit. Because I have some pretty solid criteria on this that I think you'll enjoy learning about. And maybe this is just simply about reigniting the passion in your work and life. So that's the presentation. I would love to hear your comments on it, and if you have any feedback about the presentation. My name is Christopher Lawrence. You can check me out on changeMyLifeCoaching.ca. If you want to come to the workshop, again, it's $97 for an all-day workshop, and we're going to learn how to find that passion again for what you do for a living. Joblove, JOBLOVE.eventbrite.com. Looking forward to seeing you there. I'm so excited. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.